gameplay recording paused? Oh, okay, so this isn't just gonna freaking work at all, huh? I thought they fixed this in the recent update for the game that I know for a fact I downloaded. So, update history, here we go. Removed all previous share button restrictions. Yeah, so this should not be blocked. I don't get it. Oh wait, now it is? So this is totally live. Let me just load it up on my freaking phone to make sure that this thing's even displaying properly, because there's a good reason why I at least want to do this for a split second. Okay. Yep, it is working properly. Good. What's going on, YouTube? 9inch of the Fear of All here. And, this is a bit of a different video that I want to try doing here. Mainly because I kind of want to give this game a bit of a better rep. So the thing is, this is just a bunch of cutscenes, sadly. Like, if you're gonna get the, you know, the HD collection, this is all you're going to get, is just a bunch of fucking cutscenes, and it's honestly, I mean, they look good, especially on PS4, they look good, but, you know, one in particular that they added in is a bit of a joke, which I'll get to eventually, but the whole purpose of this video is for me to kind of help finish it over 2 days, and it's like what it's known for, because I feel like a lot of people can and can't like this game. For the most, you know, I'm actually going to even turn down the volume so I can even think for a minute here. Excuse me. So, yeah, this game originally came out on DS, and if you actually want to play the actual game, you have to have a DS or 3DS and a copy of the game. Thankfully, getting a copy is not at all that hard to do. As a matter of fact, they're pretty cheap, apparently. My buddy Zix, he owns a copy. He and I have even played the multiplayer portion of the game, and I can even prove I got it because, you know, this is a game that I got near launch. It was actually the Christmas following the year that it came out that I got the game, and I'll never forget how excited I was. And yes, you can hear that MIDI version a little more. Yes, it's not that great quality. The thing is, what's impressive about this game is a lot, actually, especially for the hardware at the time. Thing is, this was before we got Birth by Sleep anyways, and we had like a Kingdom Hearts game that was ridiculous in quality, like, you know, Birth by Sleep was for a handheld. This was like the only other game we had before this was Chain of Memories as a handheld, and nope. If I do that, that's just going to get me a bunch of copyright. So I'm just gonna freaking jump into here and keep that shit out of that. Anyways, the only other handheld Kingdom Hearts game we got before then was Chain of Memories, and Chain of Memories for its time was very impressive on the hardware that it was on, which was the Game Boy Advance at the time. It had really nice sprites to it, and 358 over 2 days, to put simply, was like it's a legit like Kingdom Hearts experience on the go in all the best ways, and I dig that. Yes, it has this weird sort of system when it comes to you know, customizing your character with any abilities, accessories, and other keyblades. It's a little stupid because it's like they're forcing you into playing Tetris for some damn reason. And you're like, what? But it's not that hard. I eventually was like, what the fuck ever with it, and over time just got over it regardless. And what's cool about that is on top of it, it has mission mode, and mission mode is something that you can do solo or with friends, and both is pretty fun. Although solo, it's more so like just much harder versions of the story mode missions, even with the cutscenes, which is a little bit kind of jarring. It's like, oh, okay. On top of like a couple other rules to configure for mission mode specifically, so you can even like make it a little harder for yourself and whatnot. It offers a lot of replayability value just there, along with the character roster, which is surprisingly well sized. At the time, this game was really marketed as hey, you're getting to see the story through Organization 13's eyes. Although, really, this is Roxas' game. Roxas is a character, I love him. I love the fuck out of him. And even back in Kingdom Hearts 2, I wasn't that pissed when I got to play as him, especially when he broke out the dual-wield Keyblades. He really stood apart for me from Sora to where I enjoyed playing him just fine. And when 358 over 2 days was initially announced, I was hyped. I was like, holy shit. So firstly, I'm going to finally see what was going on with Roxas between, you know, when he was created near the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 to the beginning of 2. And it's honestly a really fucking great story. There's a lot to enjoy. You can end up really, and I mean really, empathizing with Roxas through his story. It's honestly really tragic too. I don't want to spoil too much, but obviously a little bit I do have to. And here's the thing, I'm going to have to do timestamps, and I'm going to have to put warnings for spoilers here, because if anything, this is just a video that I'm putting out at the very least to say why you guys should pick this game up. It's by no means as bad as people make it out to be. Is it mission-based? Yeah. So, as a handheld, it works just fine being mission-based. And as a matter of fact, I think works for it a lot better. It's fun. It's really fun, honestly. Because, like, yes, the selection of worlds aren't anything really original. Like, we've all been to these worlds many times before. And it's a mixture of Kingdom Hearts 1 maps and Kingdom Hearts 2 maps with a handful of their own rooms sprinkled in when it comes to the maps. And it's not exactly bad. It's like Kingdom Hearts 1 Agrabah, but the Cave of Wonders is a bit more complex this time around, and it's fine for me. I actually kind of dug the Cave of Wonders first time going through it, and was kind of bummed a lot of it got closed off after the first handful of missions that you even ventured deep into it. But, I mean, you get all these really solid worlds, aside from Wonderland, although it's not as bad in 350 over 2, yet at the same time it can be. It depends on the bullshit that the game makes you go through. So, I mean, there's a solid world lineup. The characters that you can get in mission mode, like, there's all 13 of the main Organization 13 members, you know, including Roxas, of course, but you can also play as Xemnas, you can play as Xigbar, you can play as Xaldin, you can play as Vexen, you can play as Lexaeus, you can play as Zexion, you can play as Saïx, you can play as Axel, Demyx, Luxord, Marluxia, Larxene, and also Xion, the newcomer character that was introduced in this game. More on her in the spoiler section, because to really talk about Xion, I would have to go into spoilers. But all I will say is she is definitely an interesting character, and one that you'd probably end up enjoying if you like especially if you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts in general, and let's say maybe you've missed out on this game. Maybe let's say you even only played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Funnily enough, I didn't beat Chain of Memories before I beat this game. This game was kind of my Kingdom Hearts 3. But it was a prequel game, and I didn't mind that. It plays like a traditional Kingdom Hearts experience, too, on a handheld, and that's what makes it so great for me. And, you know, like, you got all those characters in mission mode that you can mess around with. You also got Donald and Goofy, you got Riku, you got Mickey, and you even got Sora that you can also unlock the latter two if you can meet the conditions in the story mode, which isn't that bad. I worked for it. I was happy to have got it just fine. But, you know, aside from that, so, like, what are the world lineup in this game? Well, let me really quick list it off for you. We got Twilight Town, Wonderland, Olympus Coliseum, Agrabah, the castle that never was, kind of the world that never was, but it's very, very, very limited. So don't expect to, like, check out the whole world on the go, kind of. Halloween Town, and that's more Kingdom Hearts 1 style Halloween Town. About in full, I want to say. I can't think of anything that's excluded other than Dr. Finkelstein's lab for obvious story reasons. Neverland is also a world in Kingdom Hearts 358/2, and honestly, it's my favorite iteration of Wonderland. Or, not Wonderland, Neverland. Well, actually, kind of my favorite iteration of Wonderland, too, but this is my favorite iteration of Neverland. It has a great... you know, I'll get to the soundtrack eventually. Bleh. Neverland, great. It's actually exploring outside of Hook's ship. There are a couple sections you do get to go into his ship, but most of it is very wide, open-range levels that takes full use of the flying ability that you get in the world, which I personally like a lot. Then there's Beast Castle. Pretty much Kingdom Hearts 2's map, just very slightly altered, because you don't get access to Belle's room, and there's like 1 or 2 extra rooms added in to make up for it, I want to say. Or Belle's room in the parlor. Right. And then, and yeah, that's it, actually. So it's not the best world lineup, but it's not exactly bad either, and if you're a fan of, like, you know, at least some of these worlds, especially in the past, then, hey, you'll feel right at home. The only other issue that I will give to the people that have genuine concerns about the mission structure is, yeah, you do essentially strip away the ability to have people freely explore the worlds. That's not a thing that you can do. You're actually kind of on a set path. There are some rooms that are just not accessible during some missions, and when that is the case, you do just kind of go, okay, fine, and just stick to your objective. That's something that I had to learn, but I personally don't mind it myself. That could be a deal breaker for others, because I know that people can really enjoy exploring the Disney worlds. I know I can, but it not being fully explorable as freely is not that big of a deal for me. And again, the combat makes up for it, as like the gameplay makes up for it too. It's still a relatively well-structured game. A good chunk of your missions are spent collecting heart points, which is essentially, you know, the whole goal is getting Kingdom Hearts, of course, you know? So, collecting heart points, that's to be expected. But in 352 days, it's also kind of used as a currency in the Moogle shop for more of the standard stuff over money, or money is used for more so synthesis, which both return pretty okay-ish in 352 days, if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. There's plenty of extra missions as well, whether it's in the story mode or if it's in mission mode, especially with friends. Again, I cannot stress enough, it is really fun with friends. And I even have some stories to share. And by the way, this kind of helps too. There's like a bit of a diary, kind of, so you can learn a little bit of like you still have the journal, I guess, is what I'm saying, and that's fine to an extent. This is how it kind of looks touched up. We'll see in some of the cutscenes. I'll probably play a handful because I did go through it fully. But one step at a time. Now I should also probably touch upon, wow, this is the most bare basic characters list ever. I'm just looking to see, yeah, because this is all of it, it should be. Alright, so, next step, music. It's fucking amazing. This is one of my favorite renditions of Dearly Beloved in the title screen. It's great. It's wonderful. It sounds fantastic. I really love how the HD collection touched up all these songs that is exclusive to 350 over 2. Because aside from this, Neverland got 2 of its own songs, like brand new for like both exploration and battling, which I personally wish they would have kept with for all the other iterations of Neverland. Not that some of the others aren't that great either. I mean, I can kind of enjoy Birth by Sleeps, but more on that when I get to it. But when it comes to just the songs that were introduced in this game, holy fuck, there are so many great songs. It uses a hodgepodge of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2's soundtrack in addition to its new songs. It even has like a battle theme version of Another Side, which is like the secret ending theme for the original Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, which I did unlock the secret ending of, so that can be seen on my channel. There is also, it was also in the original Kingdom Hearts 2. God damn it, don't do this to me. I really don't want to get any copyright strikes for this video, for once. So with all that said, what else is there to really talk about? Well, I guess it can kind of touch about the actual gameplay itself. So as I kind of, and I'll make it brief, without too much that I can show, maybe in the future I'll actually edit this out, make it a little bit better. At the very least, I'm just using this stream to record this and to talk about it in general. So, when it comes to gameplay, the top screen is just like, it's a normal, you know, overview. You got your health on the bottom right corner like any other Kingdom Hearts games with your character portrait. And then on the left bottom corner, you got your command menu. And it's an actual normal command menu, except it's only just limited to attack, magic, and items. But attack also doubles as examine and the talk feature. No reaction commands, obviously. Actually use the X button to like cycle through the different sections of the command menu, and it's pretty simple from there, except magic is a little bit different in this game too. It's kind of treated differently in all the different tiers. They act a little bit differently. Like base spells, they're pretty much what you've come to expect for these spells, but then like the Ra levels are a little bit altered, and the Ga levels are like, in some cases, kind of like you could use it as a trap in a sense. Or just, it's more like, God, it's very weird to explain without going into each individual spell. Like, Curaga at its top, like, at its most maximum form, kind of, at its highest level, it's just a circle that you and your buddies can stand in during multiplayer to heal up. It's really just a sort of, it switches out on you, the different properties that it can have. So it makes it so you'll want to still carry some like the smaller, more simple spells, while still enjoying and taking use of some of the more leveled up spells, even though they may not be exactly great for certain elements of battle that you may need just the base versions for. I think that makes sense. Did you get that? No. But past that, it's your simple item management, and then your weapons. It's a little weird because essentially any gear that you kind of equip is just like a different keyblade, or just in general different weapon set for someone else when you're playing mission mode. And also depending on that, you get different combos and even sometimes different strength or just stat boosts in general. Like what is cool is the Zero Gear, one of the last things that you can unlock in the game. If you use it in mission mode, you can use it to unlock like most people's best gear in general. Like when you use it in mission mode with Roxas, you get dual-wield Roxas full on with Oblivion and Oathkeeper, and with a combo set that's pretty similar to actually his boss fight in 2 Final Mix, which is cool, actually. I like that a lot. With Sora, it's the Dream Sword. With Donald's Dream Staff. With Goofy, it's the Dream Shield. With Riku, it's Way to Dawn. With Mickey, it's Kingdom Key D Omega form, I want to say. Because there's also like different versions of like some of the more standard weapons too. Like Kingdom Key has like an Omega form, and that's like ridiculously powerful than compared to normal. And that can kind of be a trend too. What's also cool is you can use it to kind of unlock little joke weapons to the characters, and I always felt like it brought a sense of character to the game itself when you can do that. It's really cool and it's really fun. And like one of them is like a freaking umbrella for Roxas for some reason. God, what else? Like you can use it with Riku in order to give him Oblivion. Some combination give Riku Oblivion. You can use it, some combination with Mickey to give him Starseeker even. You could use some combination with even like Goofy and Donald to get like Frozen Pride and Centurion, or Centuron. I think that's how you pronounce it. Fuck. Or even with Sora, like you could even get like Bond of Flame if you wanted to. It's really cool that they seem to have put a lot of work into even just like the little callbacks when it comes to just that. The game is solid, is what I'm trying to say. I have heard a lot of people bash this game over time. And this is my second favorite Kingdom Hearts game, with 2 being the ultimate right now. And do I think that the game has flaws? Yeah, totally. I can see that the game has plenty of flaws, and people are justified in feeling how they do to a huge extent too. I don't think the panel system was exactly wise when it came to equipment management, and I do think that if they had lifted some of the world exploration restrictions, that it would have probably panned out a little bit better with people. It's still, however, an impressive time on DS. It is still an impressive game to play. It is still tons of fun with friends even. And I can still wholeheartedly recommend it, especially for the story. But now is where spoilers come in. Because, to an extent, I would really have to talk spoilers if I really want to sell you any further. If what I have said so far when it comes to specifically the gameplay and, all that other stuff, if that doesn't convince you enough, then yes, I do need to go into a little bit more specifics with story. So, to start with that, fuck. So, it starts basically with Roxas around the first couple of days that he's with the organization. Up to day 7, they're introduced to a new member, number 14, who is later on dubbed the name Xion. And the first couple of days, it's kind of just Roxas. Well, he's basically just doing some training missions for the organization and learning his purpose a little bit, as he learns about the Keyblade, what it's used for, but he questions why he even has it. And a good chunk of the story is really just Roxas himself and wondering who he even is to begin with and why he's in the position he is in. And from his standpoint, the story is honestly really interesting. And another thing that people like to harp on is how most, if not all, the days end with Roxas and Axel just up in the clock tower eating ice cream. And people get annoyed by this. People think it's repetitive, and they just want to get on with their life. Thing is, well, here's another thing too. I kind of feel like with reviewers, it's because also you're rushing through the game, man. And honestly, I feel like Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days was more so a good experience that can be a good pick up and put down game. Even though I have had so many moments where I was honestly addicted to all hell. Because I saw so much of what I enjoyed from Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 in it, which made me go, you know? So, with that being said, I'm not bothered at all by this, though. Because the thing is, it's a part of the story, and it kind of grounds Roxas and his story a little bit. Because, and I have a feeling people could get on me for saying that, but hear me out. Thing is, this is one of the only kind of normal things Roxas had to grip onto when he comes into existence in the matter of a couple of days, not even knowing too much. I mean, fuck, 8 days in, he finally gets a first mission. This is the first kind of friend interaction he's ever had, or anything of emotion past the very first day that he was born and Axel found him, took him to the clock tower, and did eat ice cream then. He then took him into the organization, the rest is history. But this is still just a very important part of Roxas and his storyline, because this was like a tradition for him and something that made him feel more human rather than a nobody that, you know, he's constantly told he has no heart, no feelings. When you put it into that perspective, through the course of the story, you start to really empathize with him. Like, he doesn't even know how to feel, and in a way you can see him beginning to even, and it starts to... You start to really feel for him as the game moves on, with him, you know, trying to just have some semblance of a normal life, like anyone else can. And you know, all the while not even knowing that he's being manipulated by the organization, as we know in Kingdom Hearts 2, and how bad they are, really. I mean, for most of the missions, though, and what makes it so easy for him to, I think, be okay with this is it's just, for the most part, killing Heartless, killing Heartless, killing Heartless, killing Heartless, and going to all these different worlds. Something that a lot of people do give a little bit of shit to, and I don't blame them, is the reconnaissance missions in the game, and it's like you go and examine every minute thing in this way that just feels a little bit overkill, and you're like, why do I feel the need to do this? When most of your missions are still going to be boiled down to just killing Heartless and collecting hearts. So I'll give it to them there, too, to anyone that has legit criticisms with that. Especially when it comes to the tailing stuff, those were also a little annoying back then, too. Moving on, when it comes to this story slowly shaping out, once Xion reveals her face and even starts talking to Roxas, it's even revealed that she has a Keyblade of her own. And thing is, this starts to create a bit of mystery around Xion as a character. Roxas, we know that he has the Keyblade because he soars nobody. We already know this because of Kingdom Hearts 2. So, you know, like, that's definitely interesting, and it starts to build intrigue around Xion as a character. You know, once Axel ends up also leaving for Castle Oblivion, there's kind of a thing that goes on there where for a while he even thinks that Axel could have been dead because he hears that all the other members got offed. Like, there's a lot, like there's so many days. It takes like up to day 71 for him to finally see Axel again and be like, the fuck, where did you go, dude? I thought you were dead. Surprise. And even Axel starts to become a friend of Xion, but the thing is, what's also kind of gripping about the story is just the conflict between them all, because Axel ends up obviously knowing so much more about Xion and Roxas than they both know. He knows about Roxas being the nobody of Sora. He knows about Xion being actually a project, later on it's revealed. A project that was made by Vexen and was meant to kind of be like a plan B in case Roxas didn't work out for the organization so they could still collect hearts. She's meant to kind of siphon some of the memories of Roxas and Sora, along with even the powers, hopefully, that come with them, which is how she's able to, wield the Keyblade too. But as the story goes on, there's a lot of conspiracy that ends up getting revealed as time progresses. I mean, Xion ends up quite a few times leaving the organization because of so many things making her even question who she is, especially when the organization themselves treat her like she's just a tool rather than anything close to a being at all. And she just keeps on disappearing, and things just fall apart from there to this point where it honestly starts to really tug at your heartstrings, because so much of this is built up day by day. You are given this monotonous day, and the reason why it's monotonous is for a fucking reason, because you're lulled in this security of normal everyday life, and once that starts disappearing because friends are being torn apart, because of secrets being kept from one another, because of possibly finding out that you're not even a nobody, and being a nobody in this universe is supposedly already pretty lowly. I mean, Diz, or Ansem the Wise, he doesn't even acknowledge them in a very in a way that's very respectful of them even being a being to begin with. And just as this all falls apart, you can't help but feel really fucking bad for these three. They formed one hell of a bond that, yes, although it may seem absolutely positively stupid to anyone else, this was all they had. And really, once that started settling in, it really does start to just become more and more emotional as time goes on. The friends start fighting. Axel's forced to try and take Xion back by force a couple of times, which brings even more friction between all of them. And fuck, how it all ends is not at all pleasant. I mean, Xion ends up meeting Riku and even talking to her about why she's even a thing, talking to him about Sora, about even Kairi, who she looks so similar to. And that's also because of these memories that she's been taken from Sora. I'm totally going to shamelessly admit, this game made me cry like a little fucking bitch when I first played it as a kid. And for good fucking reasons. Once Xion deflects yet again, and Roxas even finds out who the hell he even is, to an extent, it's I need to get a good spot here, kind of. Because... yeah, you know what? I'll play around the end here, because this is where it really did settle in for me, and it really captured me, and... God damn it, if this fucking game and its fucking story does not deserve my praise, because this was executed pretty damn well. Granted, this is also going to show the added cutscene in this HD collection on PS4, but...
Where did I think I could go? What a joke.
This is him just right after he left the organization. Right after even talking to Axel the last time before, you know, the simulation and everything.
Shion! Thank you.
I mean, hey, if you've ever had a, you know, really nice sort of
Roxas,
ritual,
I'm out of time.
or just thing you do with your friend every day, well, this kind of thing falling apart would probably break you up inside too.
Even if I'm not ready, I have to make this choice.
You do.
You have poured so many memories into me,
Fucking gets me so emotional though.
given me so much, that I feel like I'm about to overflow. Look at me, Roxas. Who do you see? If you see somebody else's face, a boy's face, then that means I'm almost ready. This puppet will have to play her part. Roxas, this is him. It's Sora. You're next, Roxas. I have to make you a part of me too. Don't you see? This is why I was created.
Yeah. This was the new scene added in, because this was the second to final boss fight, and god damn it was it a absolutely fucking heart-wrenching battle to do. Although it's not exactly animated the best here, it was epic as fuck too to go against. And I think you cannot do justice in the game other than playing it yourself, truly. This is also kind of why this scene was not so great, because, I mean, there are a couple of good scenes kind of in this little, like, acting out of the battle. It's better to play it yourself, trust me when I say that. Especially when he starts freaking using the glide ability in a cutscene. It looks so awkward. I am sorry, but that was a bad idea. Yeah. It's better to simply play it yourself. This is not doing this battle too much justice. Wait, didn't he actually go onto the ground? I don't know. I thought I saw a really weird inconsistency there for a moment. I'm gonna kind of leave it at that because I'd rather not cry over this. I'd rather not cry over this cutscene like I did many times already. Honestly, it's better that you just experience this for yourself. Full on. This is a game that you need to play yourself. It won't be done justice otherwise. This is kind of a sore spot for me when it comes to the HD collections, because although I'm not exactly as sad when it came to Recoded, although I have my own opinions on Recoded and I'll get to it eventually, but with 350 over 2 days, not only do I feel like people are a little too hard on it, but I feel like it doesn't get enough credit. Yes, not all of the story is exactly the absolute best. Yes, there are some executions that weren't the absolute most amazing, but not only does it offer a solid experience on a handheld system that I'm pretty sure people still have DSs and 3DSs lying around today, so if you haven't checked this game out yet, please by all means do so. When it comes to if I think that it is a game that you can start with, no. Please don't start here. That is a horrible idea. If you start here, you're going to not enjoy yourself. This is a game that is made for fans, as these games have been as they've gone along. Really, when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, you're just going to want to play these games in order, but at the very least, if let's say you haven't even played Chain of Memories, but you've played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, pick this guy up. It should not be expensive at all to find a DS cartridge. Pretty sure GameStop carries them too still. Especially for cheap, because they'll want to get rid of them pretty fast coming up here. Like, what more can I say? The music is fucking gorgeous in this game. The story is well executed for the most part. It is a very fun time on the DS. I cannot help but give this game so much recommendation, especially for Kingdom Hearts fans. If you haven't given this game an honest to God shot, do so. But if you do, maybe try to take your time with it a little bit too. I promise you won't be disappointed. So, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Coming up next, I'm probably going to at least start it tonight, as there's still a decent amount of time. So, see me for Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, the final mix version. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys around. Take care.